Alright, what's happening? Where's Olan? There he is. Day number 2. We are in Ultraflex Rotherham now today. We're hitting pull, so gym is just starting to pick up a little bit. It was a bit quiet when we came in here, but nice and loud now. Keen is just on the Nautilus No Explode knockoff press. He's recording as well, so we're going to jump on that after he's done. We just started off with a set of single arm underhand lat pull downs. Forgot to record that, but I'm going to try and record a little bit more of the session as we move on now. I'll probably get another couple of rounds of posing in afterwards as well. So just going to be raw footage again today. I won't do too much talking, as it's always like really loud with the music in here as well. So yeah, sit back, enjoy. Oh, that gets heavy. Whew. Good. Yep. Good. See, it makes it so much harder for yourself when you keep that position. But that's like, you'll find now when you go home, you might have to drop back, but just reset a couple movements. Reset, because if you drop back 2 or 3 pegs and you get that right, night and day difference.
Literally, makes it way harder, but like it's just pure lats. Yeah. And I was thinking if I can do that, the fact that I'm getting strong, like lats.
I'm telling you, man, because like you've seen my lats now, and there was nothing there, you know. So I remember when I came over here the first time, Cuba absolutely grilled. I thought my back was like my strongest body part. He fucking grilled me, man, on my back training. Right, so I'm just going to go through Olan's lat pull down here. So on the lat pull down, right, single arm lat pull down, we're really trying to focus in on the lats. So what Olan was doing before, we'll just show that first. First variation of it, right, is he's leaning back with his shoulder and with his torso, and he's kind of pulling and dragging into that side, okay? When you do your lat pull down in that manner, yes, you will hit a little bit of lat, but you're going to hit a lot of upper back as well, and that's where he was feeling it, right across his rhomboids. So we straightened him up a little bit, kept his torso upright, right, kept his rib cage down a little bit, and all we're focused on now is just dragging that elbow straight down into his torso. Yeah. Boom. Lovely. So whole time here, staying upright, shoulder locked in place. Only thing that's moving is that elbow down there, right? Range of motion with your arm with the lat, elbow's coming down, stopping at the side of the torso. It's not coming behind the body, okay? Because again, that's going to take the tension off your lat. It's just going to put it all onto your upper back. Let's go. Good. Yep. Keep moving. Good. Big drive now. Yeah. 2 more. Let's go. Good. Let's go. Come on. Drive, 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 drive. Squeeze that. Squeeze that. Yep. All the way. Let's go. 3, 2, 1.
Nice. Easy. Loads in you. Come on. Come on, again, one more. Squeeze. Nice.
You come forward, right? Don't let that shoulder protract as much. So, backing in, right? Yeah, come forward. Yeah, good. That's better now. Yep. Yeah, come on. Drive. Good.
Squeeze. Come on, finish it.
Three, two.
Big set move.
Come on.
These are the reps now, come on. Again. In. Finish.
Session almost wrapped up now. Just hitting a couple sets of arms here. Hit one already, got like 3-4 more sets left to do. Absolutely fucked. The heat here is absolutely insane today, as it always is. So good atmosphere though, always a good time coming down here and making sure we get regular sessions in here. I said once every month when I came over, but it's been like 6 weeks since the last time I was here, but try and make them a little bit more frequent now moving forward. So gonna go upstairs after this, do a couple of rounds of posing. Well, I probably won't be doing posing. Olan will probably be doing posing. I'll be absolutely bollocks. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. It's Olan. We'll dive straight in. First competition prep. How are you feeling now? How have you been finding it?
Really good up until now, to be honest. Like I was saying to you there a few days ago, like I thought at 6 weeks out, coming up to 5.5 weeks out now, I thought it'd be fucking way worse. Like I thought I'd feel fucked at this stage. But like I'm just loving it, to be honest. Like doing training, cardio, steps, like the low to moderate food is not too bad, but like I'm actually like
just thriving
like the
routine and the structure. Yeah. With you starting prep, right? Obviously you've been bodybuilding for a long time and you wanted to do prep for a long time, but when you started the prep, did you feel really like ready to do the prep? And do you think that like that's a very important like thing for somebody to have before they start prep, like actually being like mentally ready for it?
Yeah, no, 100%. Like fucking, I wanted to prep for like 2 years, to be honest. But like I just I wanted to make sure I had enough size as well. Like initially I didn't actually start to plan. I didn't plan on prepping until like next year, 2 years. But I was like, fucking, I might as well just go for doing them when I'm 20, doing again when I'm 23 for last year as a junior. But fucking, yeah, no, to start the prep, I was like really fucking ready for it. Like I knew exactly what was going to come, like what was expected, how hard we're meant to be. So I knew what I was getting myself into. But like I already loved doing the routine and like everything about bodybuilding I already loved. So I knew I'd have no issue, like literally. Yeah. I would die at the end of prep if that's how much I'd fucking go to a show, like, or to get on stage ready. So I think like that's when a lot of people fuck up preps, because they're just literally not mentally ready. And like it really is like.
Yeah, like, and I think as well, like as we kind of spoke about as well, like I was very ready for my prep, like mentally, and like another thing we spoke about was like how, because I followed so many different people and followed their preps and stuff like that, I had this like idea in my head of like prep being like really hard and like really challenging. But because I'd already been challenging myself for so long and being on it with a diet and on it with a routine and all those other sort of things, when I actually came to prep, it was actually almost like a little bit easier than I thought it would be. And I think like that's where a lot of first time competitors fall down. And like you know as well, like as I do, there's a lot of people in Ireland, it's kind of like particularly girls, you know, don't want to be singling them out, but they just jump into this competition prep because they see it on Instagram and think it's all going to be rosy, it's all going to be brilliant. I don't think people really understand like how on it you need to be with your shit and how much disciplined you be. Like you have to make a lot of sacrifices, and
if you are not already in a position where you have been making sacrifices for a long time, you're on it with your diet, maybe you're skipping a couple of social occasions and stuff like that, maybe you're just not ready to start prep.
Yeah, literally, sure, even like anyone that knows me from home or anything, like I've literally been living like a hermit the last 2 years, not just prep. Like I rarely went out ever, like I barely fucking even go out. All I do is literally, like I've been in prep for 2 years really, not just this. Since the start of prep, like that's exactly the way to look at it. And like another thing we were touching on yesterday, I think it's like perception too, because someone else doing the amount of work we're doing might think it's like impossible. And like for the amount of cardio and like steps, training, calories, and like this is so fucking hard, but because we're like so used to it the last 2 years and that's what we love doing, it's not really hard.
Yeah, and I feel like that's another thing that kind of like gets to me a little bit, is like people who like demonize competition preps, or like, you know, demonize the low calories, or even like people who do photo shoot preps. Like you'll have two people that come out with a photo shoot prep. One person who love the experience, love the challenge, this and that, and another person who's like, oh, like it was so unhealthy, you had a poor relationship with food, this and that. And again, it's just like people's perception of the experience. You know, the person who had the best experience probably like push a little bit harder than the person who's saying, you know, they got eating issues after. So like just kind of be like very careful and know what you're signing yourself up for if you do like a photo shoot prep or a competition prep, or any sort of like physique endeavor for that matter. So with your competition prep so far, obviously I know you have, you know, another couple of weeks now until your first show, so like we're only really getting to the like really tough part now. But what's been like the toughest part of prep so far, and what's been the easiest part of prep so far, and maybe even like what's been something that you've experienced this prep maybe that like you didn't expect to happen?
Toughest first. I don't fucking really have a tough one, to be honest. Like, I don't know.
I remember for me it was like, I thought like, oh yeah, competition prep, low calories, I'm going to be really hungry all the time. And I found that like I wasn't actually that hungry. What I struggled with was like the low energy. Because like when I got to the tail end of prep, like I'd never felt like so low in energy. Like, you know, like not wanting to do things, that was the hardest part for me. But like the hunger, because I had that goal, like I didn't mind eating the food. The food was completely fine.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of the opposite. Like I'll get over low energy, but like I am a food person. So like I'm fucking like, I love like proper fucking food, like proper restaurant food. So like I will get cravings, like, but I think it's outside that really. I think the toughest for me is like kind of not being present in like life, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because like I was even talking to this with Emily at home as well, and like, because you're like so extremely like tunnel vision, and like I have this goal, and like obviously this prep is one of my goals, but like I've way more goals further down in bodybuilding, and like I'm so like tunnel vision what I want to do it, like, because all you're focusing on is like training, eating, getting your meals in every 2 or 3 hours, doing your steps, and you're just so focused constantly that you kind of like everything else is like neglected. And it gets a bit selfish at times, like, and then kind of even like with your family at home, and like even with Emily, like anyone around you, you kind of like have to like step back and be like, fuck, you're like being so selfish here. And like that's what kind of my main worry, or like the hardest part about it is like not just being present with them, and just like kind of being so like focused on one thing. It's obviously needed and it's a good thing, but there's also like that's the kind of back thing about it as well.
Yeah, that was certainly something I experienced too. And like I was kind of lucky in one way, because like when I did my competition prep, like the first 7 weeks of it, it was lockdown, and I was like training with bands and like a barbell at home. So like it was literally just me and my roommate, and at the time he was like super understanding. Like he's not like into bodybuilding or anything like that, but I kind of explained it to him before I started. I was like, look, I'm going to be X, Y, and Z. I'll probably be a little bit snappier. I'll be doing this and that. I'm not going to be able to, you know, go out to the pub and all. And like he still asked me to do loads of things, and I just declined every single time. But I found that I was like even like more so like declining like so many more things than I normally like would have declined. And I was just doing everything for myself. I was going to bed super early, and like you do get caught in that like tunnel vision. And I remember when I finished prep and like I moved home and all, and I was like moved in with my family, and I realised like, Jesus, I haven't been talking to my family. Or I maybe met 1 or 2 of my friends, and I was like, when was the last time I seen my friends? And you're just like, I can't believe all this life has been going on around me. But funnily enough, like that was actually one of the things that I really liked about prep.
That's what I was just going to say.
You know, in a way, it's kind of like a double-edged sword, because like you're kind of like neglecting all these other areas of your life, but like when you're in that like box, it just feels so good.
Feels fucking unreal.
It's just really weird.
Absolutely,
like, I can't describe it.
Like you just fucking there's no other feeling like that really. It's just such a fucking good feeling, and then that's probably like the end goal. Then when you do second stage, you're like, fuck,
Yeah.
That was so good. But so far, to be honest, there isn't really anything. Like, I knew everything I was getting myself into, and like I knew what was going to happen. To be honest, I thought it'd be worse than this, as I was saying to start. Like, but I'm still 5-6 weeks out. Like, so the last month is obviously going to be the hardest part. But so far up until now, everything's like going exactly how I wanted really, and there's nothing like surprising really.
Good. And I think another thing we spoke about that I just kind of want to touch off as well is that like going through this process now, like how has it affected how much that you like love bodybuilding, are committed to bodybuilding, and how do you think now it's going to affect like what you want to do with your life in the future?
Yeah, that was something I was chatting to you about properly right when I first got here. Like, and like I already knew before I started prep that I like love bodybuilding and I love like the routine and doing the same thing every day. But like then, since prep has started and just like that extra switch and that extra focus that you put into it, and like being so on point with it and like seeing the changes, then like it just made me get like another level of obsession, like, and you just get fucking addicted. And like I knew, like the main kind of worry I was saying to you was about like having enough size, but like I'm still I still have another 3 years of junior, so like realising that like I have a long career ahead is like another thing. Like without a doubt, this is what I'm going to do for my career. I'm going to make a career out of this, and like this prep was just like I 80-90% knew that this is what I want to do before prep, but like since prep has been started, it's like 100%. Whatever way this fucking prep ends,
it gives you a lot of clarity.
Yeah.
It really does. Like it definitely gave me a lot of clarity. Like as I kind of said to you, like I was working full time when I did my competition prep, and I remember just thinking the last couple of weeks of prep, the next time I do competition prep, I'm not going to be working in this job. Like I'm going to be like not like a full-time bodybuilder, but like I'm going to be doing something else that's going to facilitate my bodybuilding better. And obviously now that's like coaching, like which is fantastic, and I think the two of them, you know, go hand in hand. Like obviously your bodybuilding helps your coaching, and kind of vice versa. So like that was a huge like catalyst for me, like my bodybuilding prep. Like I felt like up until that point maybe I was a little bit directionless, but then after that I was like, right, this has just made me realise how much I actually want to do this. And I think I don't know do many people actually experience that. I feel like if you really love bodybuilding, people kind of go one way or the other. They kind of just do a show and fall off, or they like get really sucked into it.
That's more common than not really, people doing a show and then they just end up.
Yeah, but those who do just like get so sucked into it. You do get sucked into it. It's weird. It's hard to kind of describe to anyone else like on the outside.
Like it's literally all I think about every fucking day.
Yeah,
that's
all. When you wake up in the
like,
morning until you go to sleep in the evening. One thing I just want to touch off there, just with one of the things you said, was like worrying about like not having enough size and stuff like that. And like obviously I feel like no matter what competition prep you do, that's always going to be one of your primary concerns. But I think for anyone like who's watching this, like what you have to realise, and like what I kind of said to you and what Ross kind of said to you the other day as well, is that like when you do your first competition prep and you're going through that process and you're dieting, you have to just realise that like, right, this is where I'm at now, and I just have to like work with what I have, and I just have to be like the best version of myself. So like maybe someone else has more size than you, but you know, just make sure nobody outworks you, just make sure nobody outconditions you, and just like do the best you can with what you have. And like with you, you're so early on in your journey that, you know, if you can do that now for your first competition prep, imagine how much easier it's going to make your future competition preps. You know, because there's a lot of people do competition preps and like they might as well not do competition preps because they're not really in a competition prep if they're cheating on their diet, they're doing this, skipping cardio sessions and, you know, this and that. So just try and leave everything on the floor, I think, and that'll just be a very successful prep for you. You know what I mean? Because like you don't want to step on stage and think, like if you step on stage, right, you don't get the placing you want, and you skipped a couple cardio sessions or you're cheating on your diet, those incidents are all you're going to be thinking about. But if you step on stage like I did, and like I did everything in my power, you know, I never cheated on my diet once. You know, I did every single fucking step and training session, everything I was supposed to do, and like I just knew that I got the best possible result that I could have gotten on that day.
The feeling would just be so much better on the stage.
Genuinely, like I came 4th place, I didn't even get any silverware, and I came off stage and I was like, I couldn't, like I can't describe how good of a feeling it was. You know what I mean? So like I feel like sometimes, no matter what the result is, you just kind of have to. It's a you versus you thing. You know what I mean? Like that was something I didn't realize. I thought I was going to be disappointed if I didn't do well. I was actually the opposite. I was actually kind of glad that I didn't do well, because it really drove me on now to have like the productive off season that I've kind of have now. So what advice would you have for anyone who's thinking about doing bodybuilding show? Whether it's male or female,
the main thing is just like know what you're getting into, but I think most importantly like do it for you and not for like other people or like external like rewards or like social media, because that's just literally you're gonna get fucked up in prep.
Yeah,
like, if you don't love
we've seen how that works out for people.
If you don't love it and you're not doing it like purely just for you and you don't have that drive within yourself, and even for other reasons, it's just not going to work out. You're going to be one of them people that will just find it so hard.
Yeah.
And like probably just come out worse.
Yeah, I think that's the people that end up then at the end of the process being like resentful and saying it was a really bad experience and saying people shouldn't do it because maybe they just weren't, cut out for it themselves. That's what I think. I always have like the harshest, bluntest approach when it comes to things. I'm very
like obviously there's going to be certain occasions where like people actually are into, but like certain shit happens in prep, and like that's fair enough. Like, but most cases you're right. Like what you're saying.
Yeah. So one last question: what are your expectations for this competitive season?
Like what do I expect to get out of the shows?
Yeah.
My goals, like, or
goals, expectations.
Well, like I've always been very, very competitive, and anyone that knows me knows that. Like even when I was playing GAD, like anything, not even if it's like playing fucking the game of cards or whatever the fuck, I'm always a really competitive person, and within myself as well. And I put like a lot of pressure on myself. I was talking to you about that as well.
Yeah.
And a lot of stress I get is from the pressure on myself. And my expectations and my goals are like really fucking high. And like I'd be lying if I didn't say I want to win both my shows. And like that's obviously the main goal. And definitely PCA Manchester, the first show I want to win.
Yeah.
And then Arnold, obviously it's going to be a very high fucking standard like that. I could be against people 3 years older than me, but I'd still want to get top place and even top 3 and even like win if I wanted to. But like realistically, any top placing would be good. First is the main goal, and then after that, if I just do like you said, do everything I can, I know I'll be happy at the end of the day with like whatever placing I get. Because if I look, another thing I just want to bring is like be absolutely like truly conditioned, because a lot of times well, like especially first timers and especially junior bodybuilders, you always see like condition is like the main thing they're lacking, and they're never always like soft. So if I can bring, like I know I have the shape and the structure, so if I can just bring proper like skinless condition, I think I'll be happy then, because I know then I've a few years to put on some more side. So
you're going to be the first
there
person that
remains
stands out.
expectations really.
You're going to be the first person that stands out on stage when you're peeled like
Truly conditioned, and that's what I want to be like, walk out and be like, fuck, he's really conditioned.
Yeah, exactly. And I think like you always need to have that mentality anyway. Like you see a lot of people saying, "Oh, I was going for first place or whatever," and then they don't get it. But like I feel like if you want anything less than first place, then like you're not in the right sport. That's again my like kind of very extreme opinion on it. Like if you were just doing it to show up, or I want to do a competition prep because I want to try it and see do I like it, I don't really think you should be doing it at all. If that's your mentality, it's not really a sport for like the faint of heart. It's not really a sport where you just show up for the participation. But it's very fucking intense, and the people who do well in it are the people who are the most extreme and intense. And like unless you're some like genetic freak, then like if you don't have that mentality, like you're not gonna have the minerals and have the resolve in yourself to like show up consistently every single day, and then like get that first place in the end.
Yeah, like a lot of people that would go into like body comp or do competition preps, like some people are like, oh, I just want to do it for the experience, which is fair enough, obviously. And like they're like, oh, I'll just do 1 or 2 just to experience it, which is completely fine. But like, I'm going into this knowing I'm going to be doing this for years, and I'm competitive and I want to win it, not just to do it for experience. Like I want to do this properly. That's where I'm going for.
So I kind of felt like in a way when I started my competition prep, like it was something I wanted to do for years. But I kind of convinced myself when I started, it's like, right, I'm just going to try it and see how I get on. And like, I was only like probably like 6-8 weeks into my prep, and I was like, yeah, I want to do this for the rest of my life. It was just like that instant thing. I was like, I fucking love this. And I think like, while I'm in a long off season now, and I have a goal that's so far away, it's like, yes, I'm very goal driven, it's far away and I'm working towards it. But when you're on prep, like you have that deadline, you have that timeline, and it's just a different sort of like focus, and it's a different sort of drive. And yeah, such a fucking good feeling, man. I'm actually jealous of it. I love to be on prep right now. But
yeah, it's fucking always the opposite. I'm looking at you eating all the food, I'm like, I can't fucking wait.
Yeah. What do you think about the UK kind of scene, bodybuilding scene over here?
It's so fucking good. I knew it was gonna be like high expectations to get here, but like it was just literally like fucking unreal. Like I was here, got here Friday night, went straight to bed, and like I was there like half the day Saturday, and like literally half the day through I was like, I fucking want to be here full time. Like it's just so much better, because at home, like in Cork, to be fair, bodybuilding isn't too bad. It's like that's
there's actually a very good scene, to be honest, in Cork for bodybuilding.
In Ireland in general, it's fairly shit. Like
and it's still a fairly, like, I feel like it's super like accepted over here.
Yeah,
to be honest, like everybody knows, like, oh yeah, like there's the bodybuilder or whatever, like that's their thing. It's just like somebody playing any other sport, someone plays this person's a bodybuilder. In Ireland, it's like a weird thing. It's like a niche thing. Like maybe not for people our age. Well, like for a lot of people our age, it still is. But like, you know, the older kind of generations, whereas people who are a little bit older here, bodybuilding is just a normal.
Yeah, like
a normal
the feeling and like the vibe of everything over here is just completely different. Like even just being on G and then being like in front line and Ultraflex, it's like proper bodybuilding atmosphere.
When I went to Ultraflex for the first time, like obviously I had like super high expectations. You know, you watch like Kuba, you watch AJ on YouTube for months, and you're going over and you're like, oh, like this is going to be incredible. But like, I can genuinely hand on my heart say that like the 3 weeks I spent over there when I first went over, like completely exceeded my expectations of what it was actually going to be.
That's exactly like me over, and only here a few days.
Yeah, and it was just a real eye opener for me. It really was. But yeah, gives you something to work towards in the future.
Yeah, definitely. Because like that's something I want to do at like, ages, is like put myself in that environment. Like, because at home, like I'm kind of on my own and doing my own thing the whole time. Whereas like here, it's just being around people that are doing that is just fucking.
Yeah, and that can be good, and that will get you far. And I feel like I had this conversation with like another girl from Ireland, right, who like moved over here as well. She trains in Ultraflex, and like we're both from very similar backgrounds in regards to like a little small village, rural Ireland, back arse nowhere. You know, everybody's like they're on Kilmascully, like that sort of a vibe. Like that's like where I'm from, and like you're so on your own and you're so isolated there. And like if you can be so committed to bodybuilding and being like a super black sheep and ignoring like people going out, people doing this and people doing that, people thinking you're weird for bodybuilding and eating out lunch boxes. If you can do that for so long while you're at home, when you go over here, you're really going to excel.
Yeah.
You know, because when you're in a good environment, it's easier to like do things and fall into that environment. Like obviously when you're over here, it's super motivating. Everybody else is bodybuilding. Everyone's on their, you know, on their shit and on their diet. And it's easy to do when you have that good environment. But when you have the bad environment, if you can still show up and do the do in that bad environment, that's going to stand to you so much. And I can realise that because I was doing it for fucking years. And now I'm over here and I feel like I'm like way ahead of people in ways. You know what I mean? So yeah, Olan's going to be making his YouTube debut soon as well. I'm going to get him on it because he's in the last 2 of my videos, so he needs to get his own video.
I'm about 3 weeks fucking overdue.
3 weeks overdue, yeah. But we'll get him on it. Make sure he gets plenty of content now in the lead up to the show. I think as you get leaner and leaner, it's going to be a little bit easier. But yeah, definitely do document it because, like I said to you today, I really regret not documenting mine. Especially like when I did my competition prep, when I seen how many people were actually interested, because I got like fucking 250 messages off people. And like I said, you know, some fucking guy you went to primary school with, you haven't talked to in 8 years, is messaging you saying, oh, this is unreal, like well done and whatever. And I couldn't believe the support I actually got. So while you might think people aren't watching and people aren't interested, like a lot more people actually are than you think. So just share that journey. You know?
If I get my first video out, I know I'll be fucking literally be grand after that. I'll upload the shit over then.
First one is always the hardest. So yeah, stay tuned for Olan's YouTube video. If you're watching this and you watch my videos, then when he posts his video, I definitely share it as well. But
I'll try to have it up at the end this week.
Yeah.
I just need to record the intro for like the second or third time.
Yeah. I'll give him the camera after this now and he can record the intro. So yeah, I think we touched on a lot there. I think that was good. I think that was valuable. So I'm going to wrap this video up here now. Hopefully that wasn't like overly long. I was trying to keep an eye on the time. It's probably a good couple of minutes, and obviously we had Ultraflex footage before this, so this could be like another half an hour long video. But if you've watched the whole way to the end, then you're the real MVP. So yeah, like, subscribe, comment, helps me out a lot. And we'll catch you in the next video.